Hi, my name's Richard Gilewitz, and I'd like to show you a little tip on how I go about finger picking, something to maybe create a little bit of a foundation for yourself. Basically, I use my index, middle, and ring finger, these three, in one of three positions, either on strings 3, 2, and 1, and I call that position 1, or I'll shift the whole group up to strings 4, 3, and 2, and I'll call that position 2, and sometimes I shift the group of 3 up to position 3, which would be strings 5, 4, and 3. And then I keep my thumb out ahead of these fingers so that if I'm ever coming down with my thumb, I want to make sure that it does not interfere with that index finger. And by adjusting your hand position from this, which seems to be most natural for people, slightly to the right where these fingers slide here and your thumb is out ahead, it's almost like a pulling of the strings up towards the ceiling and a pushing with your thumb down towards the floor. So if I were going to play, say, a G chord, and I'd have my thumb out ahead like that, or position 2 would be like that, and then position 3. And you can tell by this hand position being in this fashion that when I play in position 3 and my thumb comes down on 6 and my index comes up on 5, they don't interfere with each other, whereas here it would be one note and then checkmate. So you want to try and avoid that by cocking your wrist to the right and then balancing your fingers up on their tips. Some people like to use fingernails, some people use finger picks. Everybody's got a different type of attack. And sometimes I bow the wrist out here, and sometimes I'll bring the wrist in a little bit more where the thumb goes a little more parallel with the string, depending on the type of tune I'm playing. So a good practice for you might be using these three and fluctuating between the three different positions, and maybe think of it and equate it to typing. If you've got your hands on the home keys, no matter how fast you are, it's always about a borrowing technique, but you always come back to a home base, and that should give you some foundation.